What is up, everybody? Chef Billy and Suplex here, bringing you the PlayVS Fall 2022 Youth Championship Central Region Championship game. My name is Chef Billy. I'm here with Suplex on the other side. We've got a banger of a match ahead of us today. Suplex, tell us what is going on today.
How's going on, y'all? Once again, this is PlayVS 2022 Youth Championship featuring Overwatch 2. And yes, indeed, we have some fire matches coming to you. Again, we have the Wichita East High School team facing off against the Gretna Goons varsity. Now, this is going to be something special. Overwatch 2, a game where team play is so important. And when you have a youth championship like this, it becomes a match of really trust. I mean, having teams like this, you gotta put that experience in, that time in, and we're gonna have to see just how much time they've really put in to making these teams flow.
Well, I tell you what, taking a look at the bracket that I was seeing how these teams got here, Wichita East actually took down the Gretna Goons JV squad a couple rounds ago. So there might be a little bit of revenge on hand here for Gretna. They want to kind of get the revenge and take up the scepter there for their fallen comrades of their JV team. But this is a best of 5, first to 3 for our competition today. We're going to see Wichita East pick our first map right out the gate, and then we will go from there from hybrid, and then escort, and then push. And if we need it, we'll go back to control. So, we'll see how this works out here. We were talking about meta before we came on the air here today. And I tell you what, I've been seeing a lot of Tracer being played here lately across the competitions, both high school and collegiate scenes. Overwatch has really evolved into a fully transparent meta. You don't really have to stick with any one composition that if you don't really feel like it. If you got a really good hog player right now, you're kind of in the driver's seat because it forces a game of tank chess out to see if your opposing tank can stop you. Orisa is my personal main in a very good spot. Definitely is able to counter out what the hog brings to the field in that one pick potential. But I think it's really going to lean down to, do we have some good Sojourn players in the lobby, Suplex, and do we see, is it going to be the Reaper or is it going to be the Tracer in support?
Now, I do want to see it as well. I mean, you mentioned that tank chess, and I do want to see what the real answers are. Hog, again, can be solved by, of course, counterpicks like Orisa, counterpicks somewhat like D.Va. Zarya can get in there with some good DPS if we get the damage built high enough, but once again, the DPS is going to be the real game changer here, and we don't have a solid Sojourn, a solid Reaper. I mean, like you mentioned, the Tracer. We're going to see some tanks run absolutely wild, and I'm kind of worried if we don't have that counterplay, but we'll see how these players work. I mean, I'm sure they put the hours in, and we're only waiting to see just how this kicks off.
Well, it's all about how your team gels together, because you have to have a hive mind in the current gameplay right now. We did lose the off tank. I'm still kind of ticked about that. Because I was really an off-tank player.
I feel you.
Besides the Orisa, I kind of got forced into main tank towards the end of Overwatch 1, playing professionally myself. But I tell you, right now, in the meta that we are right now, main tanks are just not de jure right now. I mean, Winston is really the only main tank that you see consistently coming through, other than Orisa, if they're countering out a Roadhog. Otherwise, off tanks are actually the meta right now. Sigma is in such a good space right now. It depends on the elo that you're playing at. But we'll see what these teams bring out. Also need to see if we've got a decent Kiriko on either side. Kiriko, so important to all the teams. The Kitsune Rush is a game-changing ultimate. Even with the little bit of additions and a little bit of nerfs and buffs, equivocally, for Kiriko, looking at the increased swift step time, but the reduced time on the Suzu, there are differences there that can really make the difference. Suplex, I'm looking to see, are they going to play anywhere near the meta, or are they just going to go with their own thing?
Well, if we're going by the rulebook here, by the standard bread and butter build here, we're going to see Kiriko, we're going to see Lucio, we're going to see Reaper, we're going to see Winston, we're going to see Soldier, and that's going to be about it for today. But I don't want to count out any kind of creativity. Roadhog, of course, like you mentioned before, is an incredibly important pick, and Roadhog can change the flow of the game just like that. One hook, and all of a sudden you've lost your DPS, you've lost a healer, you've lost Lucio, and all of a sudden your team can't get anywhere. Now, one thing I do really want to see as well is any kind of possible map-based counterplay. Of course, we do see some really good usage out of Doomfist recently with the buffs. We do see a lot of potential there, and we could see some really good shield heroes. You never know, but when it comes down to it, being able to surprise the opponent with something maybe a bit off meta and then swing them back into what might work guaranteed, might be the difference maker here.
Since we're playing on the live patch, Sombra might also rear her ugly head up into this compositions because she has had quite a bit of work done to her. The translocator usage, they kind of reduced that penalty for being able to rehack a target after you initially hack them. They reduced it by like 0.4 seconds. So there's a little bit of extra time there for you to be able to go in, be able to get in, get out, get your hack done. The EMP and the hack status is still the same, so you're still only a second on a hack target. But that is enough time for you to close the distance and be able to get in on top of these players. So, I mean, like I said before, this is all about fluidity. Right now, it's all about playing into your strengths. You don't have to be meta sheep here to be able to get your stuff done. I mean, and here for this Central Region Overwatch Championship, this is going to be a fantastic day for these students to show their wares and get themselves a crown.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, it's not the time to play completely meta. You're allowed to, but there's so many options out there. Mercy is available. Honor's got a slight buff to that sleep out if you're like playing that way. Once again, Junker Queen has gotten some really good buffs to her ultimate. And on top of all that, I mean, Bastion's back in the game with a little bit of a tweak to the ultimate and the configuration. I mean, you have options to surprise your opponent. Now it's a matter of how effectively you can use them, shuffle them, and keep your opponent on their toes. This youth championship could be a real explosion of just minds thinking outside the box.
Well, looks like Wichita East has decided that we are going to Nepal here. We're going to start on Shrine. It looks like, yeah, it's going to be Shrine that we're starting on here. So Doomfist can actually work here. Another good, really good pick here is the Tracer. The reason why Tracer works so good here is because you can get in, get out, use your recall to get out of any kind of danger. Symmetra has always been a good pick here historically, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're moving into it now. Just rolling up with Symmetra TP. I love that seeing that start usually. I mean, it's so simple, but so effective. Sleep start there. Count the count. Once again, Ana, McCree, and Lucio inside of Wichita. Down real early. We're slow down, start backing off. Try and save the Sojourn into Lucio. As Greta Goons start taking that point.
Well, I tell you what, looking right at these out the gate, Asolius here on this Roadhog, having to go back and go and switch. They tried to do a little something different out the gate. Was not any kind of good work there for them. So now there's going to be a lot of sustain here. They're running with the Ana and the Lucio here. So this, to me, means that you're going to try and play for the Nano Hog play. Also, looking at the Cassidy coming out for Moose, you're looking to pick out and really sustain up against this Tracer and the Sojourn Zero. There's an early Nano coming out.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well combo while you have it. No use dropping it. Keep it going now. Look at the pressure that Greta's trying to put on. But Kiriko's down. A lot of healing down on the side of Greta. Lucio also down. Time for a retreat here. Tracer as well, trying to find some space, and Doomfist can recuperate with some time. You have a lot of room to work with here. 30% lead as the East will start to try and build up, create that cushion of a lead here.
Well, it's all about right now taking space right now, and some one pick potential, and this is, poke comp versus, the insertion of the Doomfist. Even with the power block right there, you're going to have the charge punch coming out, but not finding any value so far. Big stun came out, and that is the Asolius going down, my friend.
Massive healing coming out from the Ana with the grenade and everything, but just not enough. The melt. The Greta Goons have just destroyed Wichita East here as they take the point one more time. Have to retake that lead.
Well, you've got initiators here for both sides. It's going to be, double support ultimates coming in here for Wichita East. I'm looking to see, can we get the sound barrier plus the whole hog coming in? It's going to provide a ton of sustain, but you've got the get out of jail card here with the meteor strike here for Fancy.
I'm looking at like a full T-push here. The rush and the full hog coming out. It's all going now. Up the full hog. But the hug gonna melt down. Doomfist. Kiriko as well. Inside of Greta Goons down for the count. Tracer. It's a 2 versus 4. Not looking very possible. As you can see Person Man in the corner just trying to stay alive as that Solis is playing with us. Oh no. Oh, trying to get the come back. Oh, see
right? I mean, they were just staggering. I mean, they already had the flip in their hands. I mean, this was all about staggering out and just gaining extra percentage points. At some point, you got to land the hook there and just knock it out there and just deny the speed. So, you know, them being able to get out, actually a huge move. What a large rail shot, though.
Yeah, Soul trying to be the barrier himself, just hit on the doorway. Come on, bro. Fancy's getting real low. Just all healing on the side of which the East one. Gotta keep that team alive, but maybe not too much. Greta Goons in control once more.
I mean, okay, so looking at near a final fight, there's probably tier for Greta Goons that they're going to have to really defend against here. They've got the overclock, and we've seen Riba Bear on this Sojourn get quite a few good charged rail headshots in, especially against their counterpart. Once again, you'll see it again. It happens once again. They have absolutely had new uptakes number, and Riba Bear is just not letting go. Fancy in with the crush, and I mean, this is fantastic work for them. Final fight territory coming up here. Suplex. This is what we were looking for.
Yeah, this is a fantastic dive from Fancy here, just initiating the entire fight by disrupting their healers, their DPS. Everyone was focused on the just trying to save the Yana, and then once you're focusing too much on one tank, it's too easy for the rest of the team to come in, swoop in, start picking off your healers, your DPS, and you see that worked out well for Greta Goons. They take that first point for game one here.
I tell you what, Suplex, I have not seen a Doomfist work against a Roadhog. And that was emphatic out of Fancy. Fancy and Riba Bear have absolutely turned this game on its head. There was a lot of early presence that came out from Wichita East. And you saw, you know, the swap over to the Roadhog, got them a lot of value. But now we're looking at a Soleus going over to the Winston. I mean, if you can corral Fancy into a corner and allow the rest of the team to kind of dive upon him, that's what you're looking for. That's the dive type of target you're looking at. We also see Shiny going over to the Kiriko here. So now you're going to have Kitsune Rush plus the Winston engaged. This is going to be a lot more sustained for Soleus to keep themselves alive.
Oh yeah, no, this is the kind of build definitely you're expecting to see from most teams. Tracer, of course, not the #1 pick, but one that's always reliable. The Kiriko barely coming back. You see the teleport coming in clutch. Holy. But as Soleus going down, there's too many clips on this map. Helios.
Let me tell you, Nepal. I mean, you don't see a lot of environmental kills here because most people try to avoid the coast unless they're trying to be sneaky bear going around the outside. But Fancy. Hello? They definitely have this Doomfist tech down. It reminds me of oh gosh, who is it? Oh my goodness, it reminds me of Shochang when they were in the Overwatch League, played it for DPS, and I mean, he is absolutely crushing it right now.
Yeah, this looking like some really clean play. I mean, for a Doomfist to force a Roadhog to go to Winston, not alone, is a statement that you don't hear very often.
Hello.
Well, I talked about some revenge coming through for the Greta Goons varsity. This is also a Nebraska versus Kansas battle in the heartland of America. And right now, Nebraska is getting the full value. I'm not sure if Wichita East know what to do. Well, they answer the Doomfist. So we are getting a Doomfist mirror, ladies and gentlemen and friends. Oh my word, Soleus has had enough of this chicanery and has decided that we are going to go full into this mirror.
Overlord in the 1v1, let's go. He's trying to tear down Soleus here. That's what's remaining, and the Hitlution's not going to be enough. Oh, he can't support either. The Doomfist from Fancy is unstoppable at this point. You see them tearing through the health bars of everyone on the side of Wichita East. It's not possible to stop him at this point.
I mean, Fancy has the better of it. I mean, I'm gonna lay it down to having played it for a map and a half now. 75% and counting. We're very rapidly approaching last fight territory here. Meek has not gotten much done on this Tracer for Greta Goons, but I mean, when you have Riba Bear and Fancy leading the charge, there's nothing really much to say.
Yeah, I mean, what more do you need to do? I'm happy to get carried, but I'm in my matches. I'm sure Greta Goons are feeling the same way. He just start coming down as well. Drop by the Doomfist and the Lucio. Not going to be able to kill it immediately, but they get that punch as well. seal the deal. Nice little quick flick on Tracer there, and the Wichita East are white. And that's
wow.
Game 1 on the side of Greta Goons. It couldn't be cleaner than that. Surgical, if I may.
That was surgical Doomfist play. I have not seen any kind of Doomfist play like this for quite some time up in the tier 2 scene. Fancy. Good Lord. I mean, somebody sign this kid because this student has absolutely laid waste. I mean, you see the teleport come in, but then the focus fire coming in through Greta Goons. I mean, Fancy just went ham here on control. Now, the thing that I'm looking at right now, Suplex, is when we get into our other map types, Hybrid is coming up next, and it is a loser pick. For our next map types, it is a 1st to 3 or best of 5. So now when we go into these other map types, are you still going to be able to run the Doomfist the same way? I'm thinking that we're probably going to go to Scrims Row, if I'm completely honest. Most teams like to go there. It's the most played hybrid map of them all. Everybody knows the geometry and the little rollouts for them there. So do we see the Doomfist keep coming through, Suplex? That's what I'm really wondering, because Fancy turned the game around there. I'm just completely impressed with this gamer.
Yeah, this has been really impressive so far. I do want to bet that we don't see as much of the Doomfist, or at least an initial pick and maybe a swap like later on into the match, as we see not as many environmental kills possible. I mean, in a map like Hybrid, it's not as easy to go ahead and get just a Doomfist in to dive and just make that as effective as it normally would be. Team fights are not going to be as even on a map like Hybrid, or on a game mode like Hybrid, where you need to be able to have that space to move around in as Doomfist and a team who's going to dive with one. And so when you're trying to funnel through a tight tunnel like King's Row, pushing after that first point, I don't see it being the easiest, but it's possible. It's possible.
Well, I think Asolius can actually go back to the Roadhog here, if I'm completely honest. Now, it's going to take a lot more coordination than we saw out of Wichita East there to be able to burn down Fancy on the Doomfist if they do decide that they're going to stay the same way. So we'll see. We'll see if they're going to be able to counteract what we saw coming out from Greta Goons. Greta Goons come out the gate just absolutely on fire. They're avenging their fallen JV foes. They have fire in their eyes. They are ready to go here, and I think we are about ready to go here too with our next map pick.
Yeah, Billy, it's been a good one so far, yo. Like, I know you haven't seen too much Doomfist, but what do you think would be the best DPS solution for this kind of problem? I mean, Doomfist as a character is so hard to pin down. When Roadhog's not working in the first place, what's your real answer?
It's about getting behind him. You have to be able to flank behind him and be able to take care of the road when they get the power block going up. You have to get behind him and start peppering the damage in on top of him, because when you generate the extra firepower in that charged punch, that's where the real damage comes through. Sombra is my first thought. Yeah. Also an aerial threat. Looking at maybe going from the sky and being able to burn them down from above. That's a good range there for myself. If you want to go crazy, go in with the Junkrat. You just have to watch when they throw it up there and see what they got going on.
Yeah, I do see a Junkrat winning as well. I can imagine an Echo being very, very solid here. I mean, there's a lot of options available, but when it comes down to it, that communication as well is super, super important. I don't know how much these teams are practiced in the professional communication as a team, but when it comes down to it, that communication can be the make or break for an Ana dying in the back line because Doomfist got to her too fast, or a Cassidy being caught off guard, and all of a sudden you've lost all your DPS for that match, or for that team fight, and gotta make sure you're ready at all times. There's no time to lack on a map like this.
Well, I mean, we're going to push right now. Maybe a little bit out of order, but I'm okay with it. My ex-homeland, Canada, getting to see some of the old haunts here for myself. So the push map coming up here. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting, because now Doomfist on a route like this, you can actually get a lot done in space taking, because the path of the payload is so linear. Doomfist really can thrive here. It's just about being able to take sidelines against him. I actually think that going with an Orisa here might actually be the way to go for Asolius, but it looks like we're going to get the full Doomfist mirror. This is not what we were expecting. We were talking about meta and everything going on, and nope, this is going to be all about the Doomfist. Moose might be able to get some work done. The change to the grenade, it's now magnetic rather than the stun grenade that we've seen before. So it doesn't have the same pack of punch that we've seen before, but we'll see. We'll see what they can get done here. Moose is gonna have to really watch their corners as well, because we still have the Meek Tracer on the side, and yeah, this is complete full engage.
Yeah, looking at Keep My Foot so far, it's going kind of slow. Chris is down for the counter already, but so is Lucio. So the overall damage output and heal is somewhat balanced at this point. Cassie's also going down for the counter. Meek Tracer looking really clean, getting that back line, pick up that DPS. A favorable team fight for Greta Goons here.
I mean, at this point, you just need to jump off the mat and stop feeding ult charge to the members of Greta Goons, because they're kind of ticked off right now. They're going to go ahead and take control of Timothy Smythe, the 11th, TS11. For everybody else that was wondering why I called him that name, we've decided that we were going to give him a very British name because he just seems very proper. He's very caring about the payload, and looking to get him to butt scratch moment here at about the 50 or the 62 meter mark. So if I'm looking at these two teams right now, the team that I think can get, wow, there it is. That's a grenade coming in.
That was ridiculous. You can see just how Fancy went a couple meters too deep, and then just boom, melted. You can't overcommit. Even though that confidence is there, you know you can win those team fights. You can't overcommit against a team like Wichita East, who's able to have the DPS and the coordination to just go ahead and take you out and take that match for themselves.
Well, I mean, this has been a really smart bit of work here from Wichita East, being able to flip the fight. Only 26 meters gained there by Greta Goon. So I'm looking to see where do we have, the recontest point. How far can you get as far as your own meterage here? Shiny with an early Kitsune Rush should be able to turn the fight on their hands, but Roots can actually turn it on their heads and echo it out and see who gets the best value out of it.
Whew, huge pick off here for Soli. It's taking out the Sojourn. Gonna be able to save their team a lot of effective DPS there. Also distracting the healers here. As you can see, just Tracer with them. Not many people left to represent the side of Greta Goons. But Solis is alone, and it's gonna be a wrap for them. The East is falling apart here on that defense, and not able to make too much of a contention for that lead.
Well, I mean, Shiny holding on to their Kitsune Rush is going to be a good initiator for them. And I mean, Fancy is in way deep, should go bye-bye. He waves bye-bye as he knows that he was in way too deep and gets the full value out of it. And Rarin LeBear is actually on a massive flight here and gets taken out for their troubles.
You can see how just, obviously Fancy hasn't learned their lesson yet, but soon they will, surely. Enough times you get smacked in the head, eventually learn your lesson. Soli is maybe not learning the same lesson, but they're with the healers, so it's gonna be alright. Not nearly as risky, but your health bar is gonna be looking risky. I think it's healed right back up, no problem there. Thankfully, Wichita East staying alive. And I've come back to the bad lead.
Well, I mean, remember, you should be able to get in there with this overclock and push them back. Be able to push out there. Fancy just says, I would go ahead and just take out the healer in the first place.
Yeah, Soli's going into the Lucio, getting a nice pick off there. That's absolutely huge. Not too much hold to their name, but be able to survive for at least a little bit longer here as they back off with the team to get them back. Shiny coming in clutch. Hello once again.
Solis, are you going for a tank swap here? You went all the way back to spawn. What are we doing here, Solis? I know you're trying to get into full 5, but this is looking a little bit dicey.
I mean, here goes there. Kitsune Rush ahead of Wichita East. Going to clutch, hopefully, and the Spirit is not going to survive for too long. Tracer as well, getting pretty low. Looking okay. Hang in there now. There's a 1v1 here. Fancy with the Solius. Getting the ring. Solius backing off. Real low. Tracer gets him down. No problem. Meek gets that pick off. And Greta Goons will be extending that lead even more. Wichita East has a lot of work to do at this point in time.
Well, I mean, we've got, we've reached the butt scratch moment, as we call it in other competitions.
Yeah.
He literally scratches his backside and looks around, and so, I mean, looking at, oh my goodness, gets just absolutely stunned out of their high noon. That is crazy coming out from them. Kitsune Rush coming out here for Greta Goons. This is what I'm looking at. Where can you get the full value and they get the full value out of it?
Yeah, Solius again, trying to go in with that Meteor Strike, but not there for the team, and they're all melted while Solius is up in the air.
We're approaching halfway point here in our push maps. Froaks and Wichita East are on the back foot right now. heavily invested there in the last fight, both the overclock and the Kitsune rush there from Greta Goons. Fancy has to get out of jail card. Here we go, going in with the Roadhog.
Yeah, a really solid counter pick here. It didn't work last time, but who knows what happened this time. The full team's behind Fancy here. What a support, but once again, Wichita East can't help getting picked off. One by one, they're being lost to time. Lost is seemingly unovercomable matchup, and here we go into this last little stretch. See if they can even make a contention here. Wichita East have a lot of time on the board, but not all this distance to work with here. Just 3 meters to the end. Greta Goons, and this could be it.
Look at all the resources being poured into Fancy there, just keeping him up through the mid-fight. I mean, and now this is just pretty much a foregone conclusion here, Suplex, as we just see them get the frags as they need them. Stick comes through. That should be it right there. Just a last-second Lucio contest. And there it is. Greta Goons taking your 2-0 lead here in our Central Region Overwatch Championship. Good Lord, they are on a tear right now. I was talking about maybe a little revenge coming for their JV squad. No, this is absolute domination right now by the Nebraska squad. They are a suburb of Omaha, and they are doing their state proud. They are doing the Central Region proud right now. Absolutely fantastic work out of them. Fancy leading the charge once again. The sustain, it has been the real story here. Just enabling Fancy. The tech is on point, knowing when to put the power block up, being able to lock in and get that extra charge punch coming out. I don't know what you do now if you're a Soleus. I mean, you've got to figure out how to counteract this Doomfist play right now, and I tell you what, Marissa might be the way to go. They haven't shown the Battle Cattle yet. Otherwise, you know, maybe even bringing a Reinhardt out. If you're going to keep forcing this Doomfist, put a Reinhardt in there. Charge the guy away and let the rest of your team clean up the rest of the team. Otherwise, you know, this is going to be a very quick 3-0 championship for Greta Goons.
Yeah, this is looking like we're in the danger zone here for Greta Goons. Once again, you can see Fancy just dominating team fights, being able to dive in so effectively, has a sustain like you mentioned, and just it seems like an unstoppable force meets a very movable object. And you can see this, not a lot of options left on the side of Wichita East. They've tried the Roadhog, they've tried some counterplay, and I mean, we can keep experimenting, but there has to be a winning formula somewhere in there.
Well, I mean, I thought that the Winston was going to be able to answer a lot better, especially when you get Primal Rage up. You should be able to, you know, just get beyond the charge block, just go in there and get the tickle damage with the Tesla cannon going in. But they just have not found out what the way to go is. And I think that Iron Moose right now has been kind of kept silent. Fancy, whenever he hears it's high, charge punch, immediate seismic slam into it, and the uppercut. I mean, the tech is absolutely insane on this gamer right now. Completely reactive, completely in the moment, and the sustain. Like I said, the sustain has been so good for their Doomfist. And well, Circuit Royale.
Oh yeah.
We're going to Le Monaco. I had a whole Canadian, French and English. I thought this was going to be a Canadian broadcast when we came in, so I had a dual language opening going in here. But you know, it is what it is. We'll be able to see what the squads bring out here. Soleus, yep, I expected the Sigma mirror here. So for Greta Goons, they are going to be on the defense here. So I see a double sniper look coming out for them. That is standard here. I see the BAP and the Zenyatta. That'll be able to burn down the Sigma a lot faster. So shield management, Suplex is going to be at a key. Also hitting your shots out the gate are going to be a key. Soleus, I'm not sure about this pick here.
Yeah.
This might be a little bit hard. Kind of pseudo snipers coming out for Wichita East. A little bit more utility in the kit for Moose and for Nuke. You're going to have vision up with the Sonic Arrow. You're also going to get the spam damage in for the TNT. So we'll see how they deal with this Sigma comp coming out the gate.
I can imagine there being some really potential swaps as the matchup is presented to both teams here as they try to push this payload a little bit forward on the street. Once again, as you mentioned earlier, the Sigma duo here, the Sigma face-off, could be something special. The shield management will be one part of it, and I also want to say that Hanzo, inside of Wichita East, will be very important in trying to counterplay, as there are some very vulnerable heroes on the side of Greta Goons, but at the same time, come before they really show themselves.
Well, it's going to be about the burst damage coming out from the Hanzo being able to deal with the experimental barrier Fancy, and that's it right there. But a big rock comes in from Fancy. Oh no, that is not the way you want to go out.
Just barely catching him there on the stairs. So low, but this rock not even able to go. Immortality coming in so clutch. But there it is. The Hanzo taking it out. A little bit of burst damage is so necessary for that kind of fight.
Once the Sigma is gone, the fight's pretty much over. And you see the rocks coming through. Moose has absolutely come alive on this Ashe. This is what we want to see. This is the fight back that I was hoping for from Wichita East, and they are starting to get full advantage of it. They're pushing up around the chicane corner. They're not taking no for an answer here. They're not going down like some chumps. They are going to be able to take it and get point A unlocked, and now we're heading into point B.
I'm trying to play some more Overwatch. Let's play the game. I'm gonna go for a home after a 3-0. That's way too quick. Coming out here, always working to learn, to improve. There's no way I'm going to after that awesome set. Jeez, one game.
I mean, Riverbear right now needs to maybe swap over to a Hanzo as their own and deal with the shield. Big Gravitic Flux, both and Matrix is out.
This barely sneaks out there. Yes, Transcendence though, coming in clutch on the side of Greta Goons. It allows us push, try and get some more picks. As Wichita East are going, and they're all gone. Team kill. There's 4.5 minutes left on their side. They got plenty of time to work with, plenty of time to think, to adapt, to try out new things. But for now, yeah, they've stopped dead in their tracks.
Well, I tell you what, Crepes are good. Got beat to the Transcendence race, and that's why you see Greta Goons get out there. Now, they've got a Transcendence advantage going into this next fight. They got plenty of time, like you said. Ant Matrices should come out here basically on the uphill if you're looking at, good sight lines. The real damage right now is going to be when no uptake or nuke uptake gets this Dragons online. How do they coordinate out? What do they pull out from Greta Goons?
There's the amp, like you mentioned before. Hopefully get some good damage out here from the side of Wichita East, but Greta Goons is harassing from the side. One big pick, two big picks for the side of Wichita East. Here we go. Asolius just carrying the team through. Not much health to the name, but plenty of pressure. And Greta Goons are down. Just 2 heroes left as they back off and allow Wichita East to get this checkpoint, assumedly, and move on.
This is lightning fast suplex. This is what we wanted to see out of this Wichita East squad. And now you're going to have Bob, Dragons, and the Transcendence all in this next fight. They are getting full value out of what they're running here. Greta Goons have not been able to plant their feet since that first fight.
And your perfect flow going on, like you mentioned, like this kind of pressure and this kind of momentum is really, really hard to stop. And that Widow's got to be able to take out a hero, at least one, that could be game-changing with their ultimate, and really start seeing the flow back in Greta Goons' favor.
Utility is the big difference right now that's going on between these squads. Well, I say that, Beak taking down nuke uptake with Dragons in hand. We need to see a little bit more out of Riverbear. That is the big thing that we have not seen. We haven't seen the Widow show up in the kill feed whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to have that kind of DPS, that kind of pick potential show itself in that kind of pick. With Widow, it can be more or less a confidence pick, and if you don't have the confidence, or at least the ability to back that up, maybe time.
Well, I say that.
But, okay, yeah, hold on. I was going to kill feed top for ability. I'm sorry, the record's stronger than so.
Man, what a great series of picks there. I mean, they had Gravitic Flux there. Nobody dealt with the Immortality barrier, so that's why you didn't get the value. You had the Flux and the Bob go in, but they didn't deal with the Immortality barrier, so completely devalues both those ultimates.
Yeah, it's crazy how much impact that one ability can have. It has a huge cooldown, so it can be very difficult to time just right, but Shiny coming in super heroic. The side of Wichita East not allowing a really easy push into the side of Greta Goons.
This ends now.
The other big Transcendence coming in, side of Wichita East, trying to get this push, get on through, creating some space, but Rose down for the count, and the picks are coming through. Meek for 2! Gonna be able to make some big space here. As Wichita East is down. It is Baptiste, Hanzo, and now nobody. They've been wiped up. Oh, clean up on aisle 5.
Okay, Meek. Thank you for showing up here. I thought you were just a tracer one trick, but nay. You absolutely are not. I still think, even despite, the last 2 fights that have happened here, I think there's just a little bit more in the kit for both Wichita East's composition. So really need to see them get a lot more work done.
Oh no! Crepes are going to get picked up for free. Fancy not able to get melted down. Again, Wichita East is not able to get a full, solid push in past this defense on Greta Goons. And he can't even take out Fancy either. Like he said before earlier in the last game, sustain on Fancy's been seemingly unlimited.
I'm surprised that they were able to stay up with the Zenyatta. The orb does so much, but just the burst healing coming in from Person Man has been absolutely crucial here for Fancy to stay alive.
Another big ult from Wish to East. Solis is popping. Ooh, that melody is sounding sweet! Nuke up takes down for the count. I am Goose again, trading Farmer Bear. Winning that sniper battle real quick. And once again, Greta Goons looking to be advantageous in this team fight. Meek going for more kills. Once again, that Sojourn coming in real clutch. And Fancy getting that finisher. Wish to East is out of there for this one. 1:45 left, and there's not much time remaining. You've got to make some serious impact now. You need a single pick, a single pull, any kind of just momentum starter, that spark for that fire. It's time to get it started.
Right, it was 4:42 coming into Hotel Arsh here, and I tell you what, Greta Goons have finally planted their feet. We were talking about the Fancy Rimmer Bear combo before. Well, now it is the Fancy Meek combo that have been laying in with the kills. Person Man and Roost have kept their cool throughout this entirety, and they are now just absolutely laying in, no fear for Fancy as they try to traverse around the corner here.
Yeah, you can see Fancy just, like you mentioned, no fear. Like, the sustain is so reliable, why would you have any fear? The health bar is seemingly just bottomless at this point as they just walk forward, get that recon at least, get that push, that pressure, slow down Wish to East, and burn even more time on their side. They only have 2 ults up. Transcend is coming up right behind it as well. The Dragon Strike coming in right now. There's huge damage. They take out Baptiste inside of Greta Goons. They're down at Harrison, but then Neek comes in right away as the counter roll. Another pick. He's got to take as well, taking them out. Healer is sniper is all going down. It's back-to-back picks. Fancy coming in clutch here. The pick. Yeah. On the Baptiste especially. It's getting intense. It's getting way too crazy. But Wish to find a way through. Woo.
It all started on the back of Persevan going down through the Dragon Strike. So, I mean, they got the bulk healing out of the way. And now it's going to come up to Rimmer Bear here with an Amp Matrix in their face. They should be able to get... Oh, no! Headshot!
Cupcake is too accurate. I am a Goose as well coming in clutch, taking out Rose inside of Greta Goons. Wish to East have found their momentum. They found their chance, and they're taking it all the way home. They've made it the 3rd checkpoint for this first map for side, and now Greta Goons clap back in their own fashion.
Score.
My word. I mean, it was done in overtime, so it's going to be up to Greta Goons now to set at least a similar pace here. And we'll see what we get in our overtime pushes if Greta Goons can even get themselves through the hotel. Priority picks here is what Wichita East was relying on. And if they don't get that Dragon Strike on top of Person Man, it's all over. I mean, they had the ultimate economy firmly in their favor, but the snowball just started once that Dragon Strike hit through, and you finally saw the focus fire coming through. Nuke uptake really showing up huge in the last 40 meters of Circuit Royale Point 3. So I tell you what, I'm kind of like iffy on this Widow pick right now. We saw a couple of good picks, but nothing really that stood out. Not like a real clap moment that you was expecting from a Widowmaker, from the accuracy that we've seen from Rimmer Bear all day long. So as we look here, getting a very good look of the interior of Hotel Arsh here. Really has had their fun now. And now it's all about Wichita East. Can you pull yourself back into the series? Can you stop the freight train that has been Greta Goons varsity out in Nebraska? Here we go. Attack phase for Greta Goons. No changes coming out for them.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that, again, you mentioned earlier, the Widow pick. A little bit risky here, and especially on attack, I am somewhat worried to see how it's going to play out. As the DPS may not be the highest, but as I mentioned, DPS, Solis is gone.
I mean, priority pick coming out, so I mean, no shielding right now. This should be all the way around the corner, getting below. Yep, Roos is laying waste with a volley. 2 volleys. Hello. Yeah, we love to see a bloodthirsty support here in our Overwatch games. I love it. I love it.
I mean, with one less off tank, like you mentioned earlier today, I mean, someone's got to be DPS here, and clearly, it's someone with not 500 HP.
I mean, there's this is a Jello defense right now. They're not taking any questions here. They're not taking any comments from your manager either. Contest though comes at 1.54 meters.
I'll go for the rock drop on Hanzo there. Nuke uptake getting melted immediately. Meek getting 2 picks for free off the initiation from Fancy. And once again, they're just walking through Witch to East. There's no chance to clap back. This
No
first
shot.
point going really to the side of Greta Goons.
5:15 to get around the chicane corner. Fancy needs to be up there, really stemming any kind of pressure coming through, any kind of position taking. Yeah, I would hold around the little Formula One kiosk right there and just start spraying in the hyperspheres. They've got a 20% lead over in the gravitic flux department, so this should be all about them taking space and then letting loose the big pick coming out first though for Wichita East.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it seems like Nuke uptake just has the upper hand on Rama Bear here, just out sniping the hit scan sniper with projectiles. So if that's not impressive in itself, I don't know what is. We see a team fight breaking out here and on the payload. Once again, Solius and Fancy fighting for that dominance in the server pretty much. And it seems to be the true cornerstones of these team fights playing tanks. Nuke uptake getting a big pick on Rama Bear. Meek as well getting a pick on the Baptiste. 1-2 coming up from Meek. And it's a huge trade fest. But Wish to East is coming out of it real hurt. I am Goose is down solo, and there it is.
Oh man, that is the stand. That's where they decided to make their stand. I mean, there's trades back and forth, so there's still going to be a little bit of time for Wichita East to get back in here and get a contest. But Fancy is going uber aggressive here, not going to allow him to take any kind of stance here on the point.
Oh, he gets picked off here, but okay, it's a bunch of health off that absorb, and the immortality shield gonna come in close as well. Barely hanging in there. The orb of harmony just coming in and just doing so much work. Once again, the Solius inside of Wichita East, hoping to stop this contest, or really hoping to contest the payload. Not allowing any kind of push. Big Dragon Spear coming through, taking out Fancy, taking out Rama Bear. Nuke uptake is so integral to the team fights, but Rose takes him out as well. And Meek cleaning up Wichita East. It's all too much. You'd think it'd be over once Fancy was done, but with Greta Goons have that much grit.
4:53 to get it through. We saw Greta Goons step up their defense here. They found sight lines. They found their winning combination going through here. But the fact is that Nuke uptake had to use that Dragon Strike to try and stem the aggression coming in, and now they are absolutely out of options.
Yeah, Nuke is going to be returning that pressure for quite some time. They have Transcendence, they have Bob. It'll be very, very helpful in a team fight, especially with Bob able to be held up by the Transcendence. And the team being able to overall fight for almost twice as long as they normally would. Meek getting a big pick there from Nuke uptake. That's so important for this kind of fight. The Transcendence coming out now. It's going to be a huge spend, but it might be worth it to keep them in this fight. Bob's coming out as well. Melted though. And the team fights, the picks, the trades are coming in right now. One on the side of Greta Goons, none on the side of Wish to East as there's respawn points right there. Looks like it's going to be on the side of Wish to East winning this one. But again, the scripts are good. Asoli is down as well. Holy!
That was all about the accretion coming in from Fancy. Fancy, doesn't matter what tank they are playing, they're here to take space and not take any of your silly comments or questions. And I mean, we've rounded the bend here. We're looking for the fight coming in. Big Transcendence coming out on the flux. This is going to keep everybody up nice and healthy.
Yeah, no problems there. Meek getting taken out with a huge rock in the face, though. Going to spot against that wall. Just 0.39 meters. Stay on that point.
Wow.
And that's going to be a wrap. 4 minutes, 23 seconds as a giant lead on the side of Greta Goons. They have so much time to work with to make this a large lead. Or at least a large comeback. As we still go back over to the side of Wichita East on attack.
Yeah, Wichita East coming out on the attack. They get a minute added to their time, and that pushes up to the 4:23. So they finished Circuit Royale with 3:23 in the time bank. Were Greta Goons, and the big reason why is because River Bear actually went off of the Widowmaker after they let out Bob in the previous fight, and went over to the and let the Infrasights out. Then they brought in the Ash, and the Ash is a better pick here. We didn't see the same value come through. We saw the burn damage come through with the Diamond, but they're going to go ahead and go back to the Widowmaker here for point A, and it's all going to be about right now the sustain for Fancy. Can Fancy stay in this fight once again and really, minimize how much meterage Wichita East get? They're going to have to throw themselves at the point. So not a lot of time for ultimate is to come up here for Wichita East. That's the finishing in. You know, Bridge standing right here. This should be a good point for them to get the work done. If there is a priority pick now for Greta Goons, it's got to be a Soleus getting that shield down and just going ham on the rest of the team.
Yeah, I do see quite a huge potential here for Wichita East to try and get some good picks on set of Greta Goons. I mean, we've seen the matchup spread for how Nuke Uptake and Rama Bear are facing off, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another huge pick in Nuke getting this fight started. But again, one big mistake, and that could be it for Wichita East. Not a lot of time on deck, and it could be decided by just one overly long team fight.
I mean,
here, already 30 seconds left.
Right, Fancy has had the better of the Sigma player right now. The Accretions have landed a lot better, but I think that Solis has kept his team alive a lot better than Fancy has. And there's the pick that you were talking about. Nuke gets the first pick.
Absolutely huge. You couldn't ask for a more valuable pick here on the side of Wichita East. Getting them real started here. 3 picks already down. Zen and Widow respawning already. Person Man, late pick there. Me still running away. Not looking to get caught. Not looking to get picked off and staggered. Gonna run back to the team, get back to that 5, come back stronger, as all they have to do is win one fight, just one fight, and Greta Goons get a nice spot for them, have 4 minutes, 22 seconds to just overrule what Wichita East can come through with here. Dang, Nuke Uptick again on these picks! All reliable out here on the side of Wichita East. I'm sure they're thanking him in chat right now.
I mean, I'd be thinking my Hunter player right now is taking down, getting priority picks, but this is going to be huge right now for Soleus, as they're going to be able to let loose with this Flux. Oh, they don't whiff on it, so who are you going to get?
Oh, pretty good damage, but no picks yet. Hopefully it's distractional here as they start to rebuild their team with a payload up front. All 5 fighting out instead of Wichita East. Ampfield coming through as well. Huge damage output at this point for both teams. They were totally going to come in real quick as well. Smoke it right away. Both teams Transcendence now as well. Greta Goon's going to keep them in the fight and keep them up for just long enough to stop Wichita East and force them off that payload. Going to be getting only about 68 meters, I think I saw there.
But still, with a minute, I mean, they got themselves 68 meters, and it was a Sigma 9 that took them off the point there. So, I mean, the win condition was pretty easy there for Greta Goons. Just get your flux up and capture as many people into it as possible. So they get the full value out of it. But still, Wichita East, with only 1 minute, gets themselves halfway through point B. And that's not a bad push. There's actually a winnable condition here for Wichita East. And if they're going to bring out the same composition that we've seen so far, which they are in their defense, this is where the rubber's going to meet the road for Greta Goons. You've got to find a priority pick. You've got to get around the shield of a Soleus. 4:23 is a formidable time bank. Let me be completely candid about that. But if you start getting the picks, if you start claiming your space, if you stop the cart's progress before it gets to the bridge, I don't know if this high ground stand is going to be exactly what they need here, because we saw it happen on their attack phase. They got picked out too early by people trying to peek around corners, and we see Nuke Uptake get the primary pick out of these compositions. So they're going to be very cognizant of where the Hanzo is, and is the shielding and the protection there.
I mean, you see, as you mentioned, like, Nuke Uptake will not miss a single chance to get that initial pick, get their team fight started, and be overall that tinder for the 5 Wichita team fights here. Now, what matters most in my eyes is just how much Bear can adapt, but as I'm seeing now, adapting well to the movement on the side of Wichita East, getting that first pick, and starting off this team fight real well with Greta Goons. Another huge rock!
Oh my lord.
Yeah, Greta Goons, they're turning up right now. They know what they need to do. They need to take this match as soon as possible. No hesitation, no delay. Make as much use of the time as possible here, as one lost team fight can make this an even game, really. A good defense from Wichita East, and that time bank could be just as short as they had.
Big Rock once again coming in from Fancy. And I mean, they're going to have to put out the Immortality Berry there. This is all about picks right now. Nuke Uptake once again gets the priority pick.
Yeah, Nuke Uptake again, just so reliable. Person Man's down for the count. Meek looking pretty low, but Greta Goons for any kind of counter pick to get the team fight started. Rama Bear is also down. Huge DPS loss here. He's going to go for that Sigma ult. Get into more damage here. Fancy with a huge snipe. so low on the side of Shiny, pumps the amp field, but not going to be enough. The Immortality Skill is going to hold them in the fight for just a bit longer here. Just Soleus and Shiny fighting right now. They need all the time they can get on this payload to stall them for the checkpoint. Earn that time, but they just won't go down. As Soleus is seeming immortal. The Transcendence from Crepes are good as well, keeps them in the game. And it's just an endless fight right now. Greta Goons cannot tear through.
Oh, Flux comes out, and they had already used their Transcendence, so no defense against that. But there, Soleus gets picked out of it. Oh, that is a pick. That is not what you wanted to see if you were Wichita East. Oh, they had the win condition right there to just keep stalling the point out. 2:15 as the Formula Lux car gets up the sky. They've got vision as well.
So brutal. I mean, you see the potential that Wichita East had in their defense, and they held it as long as they could, but starting to get closer and closer to that checkpoint. That final win condition. Just a little bit further, and Greta Goons have got this series. It's match point. Don't forget, y'all. This is sudden death for Wichita East. Oh no! Do or die.
That is the priority pick right there. Taking the tank down. This should be it. They can just Sigma 9, pull them out there from any kind of contest. This should be it. This is going to be a huge overclock here coming from Meek. Ball onto the point.
5 meters left. You know Hamtaro's got it. Get back in there. Dragon Threat coming out the side of Wichita East, but it's not going to be enough. They can't contest. And that's going to be a wrap, y'all. Greta Goons have taken our series 3-0. This youth finals has been impressive, but Greta Goons even more so. Truly, some incredible play from both teams today.
Fantastic with these squads. I tell you what, these students absolutely lighting it up on the feed, lighting it up in the game, lighting my day up, and just giving me a fantastic viewing here and showing from both. But they do get their revenge. They have avenged their JV squad at the hands of Wichita East. A clean 3-0 sweep as Greta Goons out of Greta, Nebraska take your Central Region Play versus Fall 2022 Youth Overwatch Championship here. What a fantastic series, Suplex. Thank you so much for joining me here in the booth. This was a fantastic day of Overwatch action.
No, Billy, it's truly been more than a pleasure. It's been a great time, great matches, great casting, great meeting you, dog. It's been so much fun, and I can't just share enough how excited I am for these players. Keep going, keep playing, keep having fun, keep competing. This is esports, yo, and being able to access this at such a young age and being able to really show off your stuff in a bracket like this, you love to see it.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I got nothing better to say than make sure you guys drink your water, take care of each other inside and out of game, and we will see you in the near future. Have a great day, y'all. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Take care.